Welcome to this video about the First Year Placement Advising Scheme. Trainees are matched with a service user or a carer. They meet with the service user or carer for 1 hour each month over 6 months of their first year placement. The maximum time the trainee should spend on the scheme is 2 hours per month. The scheme is a compulsory part of the placement, but it's unassessed. However, we expect the trainee to write to the advisor or mentor at the end of the placement, sharing with them what they have learnt from their meetings. The meetings take place in a health, voluntary or public venue of the advisor and trainee's choosing, never in someone's home. There is a confidentiality agreement for the pair to sign on their first meeting. All advisors and mentors are trained and supervised. All trainees receive an induction and 2 teaching sessions about the scheme. This is a unique opportunity for trainees to meet a member of the community in which they are on placement, to find out what it's like to experience being or caring for someone with mental health problems, living in that place and using the services available there. But we don't set the agenda, they do. This is a co-produced and confidential space in which the pair are free to explore ideas.
People are so much more than the mental health difficulty with which they're coming to see a mental health professional. But why is that particularly important for our first year trainees to really engage with and think about as they go out into services is because they are, at this point, often quite preoccupied with feeling they've got to get it right and show to their supervisors that they're competent, when in fact, what that does, if they focus too much on technique, is reduce down the people that they're seeing in some way just to a set of symptoms. It diminishes rather than amplifies and expands people who are sitting in front of you. So I think it's really crucially important that trainees learn to talk with service users and carers about their lives, about their families and their relationships and their communities. And so when people go out of that hour in the consulting room, they have a sense of where that person is going to and what is happening for them, and that they can hold on to those experiences and take those thoughts and reflections with them throughout the duration of their training and beyond.
From many years of evaluations, including an MRP study about the scheme, we know that the scheme achieves these learning outcomes. But it's not without its challenges, and this is often where the learning happens for the trainees.
So for me, the scheme was an invaluable space that allowed me to develop a deep respect for the incredible challenges that are faced by those who care for loved ones that have experienced mental health difficulties, and for the, quite honestly, unacknowledged incredible strength and resilience that can emerge from within that context. So from the time that I spent together with the lived experience advisor that I was assigned to, taking away a lasting resolve to hold carers like them in mind when working therapeutically with their loved ones, and really just to encourage my colleagues to do the same. And I strongly believe that the equal grounding and space to develop a more human relationship, it allowed for a more meaningful learning experience, and that's compared to what would be possible really within the professional relationship within a therapy room. So whilst it's sometimes difficult to know what to talk about or to work to drift around to having more of a therapeutic role, I feel that learning to navigate these were actually quite helpful learning experiences in themselves.
When I work with a trainee, I tell them that there are no-go areas in our discussions. The trainees have this opportunity to get to know the person behind the diagnosis. We've been able to discuss the different models of therapy from the client's point of view. We have explored what it's like to begin therapy from the point of view of both client and therapist. Trainees have been challenged to examine how they first approach clients and how they develop the therapeutic relationship, how having a mental health difficulty impacts every aspect of their advisor's life, that these difficulties have a ripple effect on family, friends and carers.
Whilst I've shared a lot of my own experiences where it's felt like it might be helpful, it's always been a collaborative space. I've been happy to answer questions where I can, but it's been in exploring the questions we both have about mental health that has felt the most powerful. I can't represent every service user's point of view, and many trainees will have been service users themselves, but if I've been able to contribute to a trainee's sense of curiosity, then I'm happy, because that willingness to ask questions might help someone later down the line.
So it's a way of stepping outside the them and us narrative and to consider the medical model and alternative viewpoints. It allows for curiosity about an individual's experience and what did and didn't help. Trainees are offered an opportunity to hear about someone's experience while sitting in a different position to that within the therapy room. And it's useful to reflect on how it feels to meet somebody with lived experience outside of a therapy room in terms of power relationships and how this impacts on the interaction. One of the challenges of the scheme is that it may be difficult to be flexible with meetings, and some trainees have found that at times their meetings have started to move more towards what felt like therapy sessions. My advice would be to make sure that supervisors are on board. Having the sessions arranged in advance can help, and meeting in a neutral place may help to stop the sessions feel like a therapy session. Collaboratively setting up clear ground rules can help, and deciding on 3 things that you want to gain from the process can also be helpful. Consider whether you can be open and honest about your own views and not be afraid to express them.
If I was to offer any advice to my colleagues beginning work with a lived experience advisor, it's just simply to treat the experience of meeting this new person like any other. Be curious and be genuine and be yourself, and learning will come out of that and it will spontaneously develop, and that's part of the enjoyment, I suppose.